Hey guys, welcome back. It's Shlee and Rowena. So today we're gonna talk all about masks.
So we have everything from sheet mask to sleeping to cream to gel
to clay to mud to exfoliating to peeling. Everything. So today we're going to talk about
each of the different types of masks,
what they are made from,
which skin type they're best for,
and what ingredients to look out for when deciding what your skin needs.
Because each of these are very different and they help the skin when it's breaking out or it's dull or it's oily or it's just inflamed. They can actually help to heal the skin back to its normal state. And different masks help more with detoxification, or some are better with like hydration and nourishing and moisturizing the skin. So grab a cup of tea, cup of coffee, maybe slap on your favorite face mask, and let's jump into the first question, which is,
what are masks? Because there's a lot of them. All right, so what are masks? Masking has been around for a long time. In places like France, they have a green clay that's mined from quarries, and in Egypt, they use mud from the Dead Sea. In Japan, they use kelp for its high nourishing and hydrating qualities, and also use leftover pieces of silk from the kimono soaked in rose water. In China, they use gold flakes on the cheeks and forehead.
And then there's also beauty regimens in India that date back around 5,000 years called ubtan, where they would mix herbs, plants, roots, and flowers like aloe vera, turmeric, and other ingredients for specific skin types. It was more of a holistic approach to skincare and focused on how we live, what we eat, and what we apply to our skin as part of mind, body, and surroundings.
We dig this.
Let's find out how masks actually work on our skin. So if you look at the back of any like face mask or product in general, you'll see that there's a bunch of ingredients. But as we've said in a previous video, you want to kind of stick to looking at the top 5, because these top 5 actually make up more than 80% of the entire product. And sometimes they'll like market the ingredients that are like the 20th ingredient and say it's like, this is fantastic. So those are the ones you want to actually stick to looking at.
As a general rule of thumb, ingredients are listed from the most to the least. So for the most part, most ingredients will have water as the first ingredient. It's very, very diluted when it gets to like the 10th or the 20th ingredient.
So your skin definitely does absorb the ingredients in the mask, but actually only a very small portion of it can penetrate deep into the layers of the skin.
Because your epidermis, which is the outermost layer of your skin, is designed to protect us from the environment.
They act as another vehicle like lotion, serum, cream, ointment that delivers actives to the skin to improve the appearance or the texture. So let's jump into the different types of masks and which skin they're best suited for. Let's first start off with sheet ones, because they're the most fun and everyone's all about sheet masks.
I think we're most familiar with sheet masks. So to look at some more, we have more.
You can tell we love sheet masks.
So sheet masks are basically a physical occlusive to trap the moisture in your skin with the actual sheet itself, which is drenched in a serum-like formula. So each mask will be different depending on what is the active ingredient. In almost every sheet mask, you'll see 2 ingredients, butylene glycol and glycerin. Butylene glycol, it's usually the second or third ingredient in most sheet masks. It acts as a delivery agent and solvent that allows your skin to absorb more of the other ingredients. As with glycerin, glycerin is a humectant which can be naturally derived from plant oils or made synthetically, and because it is a humectant, it works by drawing moisture to the skin from the air into the skin's outer layer without making it greasy.
Now, when you look at the back of many of these masks, you want to focus on the ingredients kind of like AHAs, which are chemical exfoliants. So for example, if you look at this Bliss holographic foil sheet hangover fix with electrolytes. So it goes water, butylene glycol, glycerin, and then it's got pear fruit extract. Okay, but the point is, you can see the first 2 or 3 ingredients was the water, the glycerin, and the butylene glycol. And then that's why when they like put on the front that it's got like vitamin C and all that stuff, it's actually very far down, for this one anyway.
And same thing with the Wish Trend. This is the hour-long moisturizing gauze sheet mask. So the first one is water, and then it's butylene glycol, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. The sixth ingredient is glycerin. So the seventh one is niacinamide, which is a really great ingredient for brightening.
So apart from those two ingredients, things like chemical exfoliants like lactic acid, citric acid, glycolic acid, mandelic acid, and you'll see them listed on the back as that. They might not be at the very front, but you know, if it's in the first two lines, then that's still good. So this Papa Recipe one, which is like your favorite.
My favorite.
Has water, glycerin, niacinamide as the top three. So that's one. Is this one really brightening?
It is. Like bing bing.
The Tatcha one, I mean, following along with their Japanese trend, they have camellia extract, they have the rice ferment filtrate. So it's like super nourishing.
Hydrating, and it's also brightening because there's rice extract. And then this one, the MediHeal, I think this is like a cult favorite. So the first one is water, and the fourth ingredient is glycerin, and the fifth is sodium hyaluronate. So this is a very, very hydrating sheet mask. So on top of chemical exfoliants, there's also ingredients high in antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin A or retinol, vitamin E. So as with most sheet masks, they're not gonna contain every single one of these ingredients that you want that will be beneficial and helpful to you. So what we recommend is to spread out these active ingredients throughout your skincare routine, from cleansing all the way to facial oils.
So then you'll have maybe chemical exfoliants in your toner, and then you'll have like vitamin C in a serum or moisturizer, and then you can always top it off with a face mask that has like brightening effect.
Make sure you read the back to say how long you can leave it on for, because I did a sheet mask a few days ago and I think I left it on for a little too long. When I took it off, it like
dried.
It like peeled, like the nose strip peels, and I was like, it's not supposed to do that.
Yeah, that's when it like reverses and sucks out moisture from your skin. Moving on to sleeping masks. So we have these ones here, which, so all of these we've used ourselves, which we really like. So what are sleeping masks? Because they're actually like newer compared to all the other ones that we're gonna mention.
Sleeping masks are a great way to intensely hydrate the skin, especially during the colder months as you're catching some sleep.
When your body's in deep sleep, the skin's metabolism increases and cell turnover and renewal is at its peak. And this happens between around 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So you better be getting that sleep in. So this is why you'll always find that like if you have lack of sleep or you slept really late the night before, you wake up and your skin is very dull. Yeah, like you can't describe it, but you feel like, well, I do. I feel ashy because you didn't give your body enough time to actually renew and like cleanse itself.
So you might be thinking, why would I want to spread this all over my skin? It's gonna get all over my pillows. Well, the thing is, these sleeping masks, a little goes a long way, and they actually get pretty absorbed into your skin, so it doesn't transfer. Sleeping masks are used at night in place of your regular moisturizer, and you wash it off the next morning. So this is really great because it's suitable for all skin types, especially for the anti-aging department, because it's so deeply hydrating. It's really great in helping restore all the good stuff on your skin.
Yeah, and especially if you guys have sensitive skin, it's also very safe for sensitive skin.
So the Innisfree one is very, very hydrating. It's perfect for winter. And then CosRX, I feel like I could use this during the summertime because it's more watery. The consistency is pretty fluid. It blends very easily, very seamlessly into your skin, like water. And the Innisfree one's a lot thicker.
This one's like one of my favorite, all-time favorites. It's the most creamiest of all of them. So it's thicker, but it doesn't mean it's thick because it just kind of blends into your skin as well. It's much more like an actual lotion.
Yeah. For the Summer Fridays, there's multi-use. You could use it as a wash-off cream mask, like put it on pretty thick for 10 minutes, wash it off. You can use it as a sleeping mask, or you can just use it as moisturizer.
Yeah. And then this one, it's called Every Night Sleeping Pack, and it's like, once again, a very lightweight serum consistency.
Ooh, it's like butter.
Yeah, it's really smooth, and then it's kind of like this, actually. It blends into this like almost watery. Next one. The most playful of the masks. I used to think it was the most gimmicky of them all. And
the most useless.
Yeah, and after doing research more into it, it confirmed that. So the thing is, they are fun, and I think brands know how satisfying it is to peel something off and look at it, right? Kind of like a huge nose pore strip for your face.
All those viral videos of like, magnet,
So that's actually to say it does have one benefit, which is it is kind of a physical exfoliator in a way, because it does peel the like very surface layers of dead skin off. And that's why sometimes it is very brightening, because you're basically like peeling
Shedding yourself.
Yeah. So when we were talking about ingredients, we were saying top 5, right?
Yeah.
So the top 5 of these, it's to create that texture that you can peel off. And then there'll be things like antioxidants, oils, witch hazel, things like that. So it is still in there. It's just very much lower down in the ingredients list.
For peel-off masks, sometimes they will have ingredients like charcoal, tea tree, really beneficial active ingredients. But because they essentially just sit on top of your skin and then gets peeled off, it's not as hydrating as, let's say, like creams or sheet masks, and it doesn't penetrate deeply like clay and mud masks that will like take things, like suck things out of the pores.
It's like you're putting money on your face and then you're peeling money off your face.
But sometimes, like for this one, there's hyaluronic acid, so it will be hydrating.
While it's dry.
Yeah, compared to not using it, it will probably be better, or else why would you need this? Why would they make this?
Yeah.
But in general, if you're looking for more detoxifying, clarifying,
From like the deeper layers.
yeah, or if you want more nourishing and hydrating, you would tend to go for something that's not this.
Next, gel mask and also cream mask. So if you're kind of unsure about where it falls into, if it's not a sheet, if it's not clay or mud, it's probably a gel or a cream. And then this one is the black tea instant perfecting mask.
It's more like a creamy, I can't really describe the texture.
It's like velvet.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Because gels are so lightweight, kind of like gel moisturizers. They're just like a leave-on form. And these ones you don't leave on overnight unless it specifically says it's like a sleeping mask.
Yeah, so I think for every single type of mask, it's very important to read the label. It always states how long you should leave it on for. So for this one, it's only 5 to 10 minutes.
And the good thing about gel mask is that because it's so lightweight, it's really great for obviously the summer, but you can definitely wear it in the winter as well because it just sinks into the skin, all the hyaluronic acid and things like that.
So gel masks are very similar to how you would use a sheet mask. So you could tone and serum before using a cream or a gel.
So the ones we like are the Fresh and the Glow Recipe Watermelon Mask.
I remember getting this in a small sample in one of those like Sephora 500 point boxes. And the first time I used it after washing it off in 5-10 minutes, I was just like, whoa, I've never seen my skin so perfected like this. So the black tea is high in antioxidants, which makes it very hydrating, and it also helps with smoothing the skin, makes it look healthier.
This one, I love it, but I also don't like it because I feel like it's very heavily fragranced. Like, it smells nice. Yeah, it smells nice, but it's, you know, I'm not hating it because it's a good fragrance.
Next, we have exfoliating masks. So exfoliating masks are like any other mask, just that they have exfoliating acids and properties, chemical exfoliants.
So it's not really like a texture category like gel, cream. It can be any, it's just the ingredients.
Yeah, so for example, the pharmacy mask is a clay mask. There's kaolin clay, but there's also AHA. And then the Tata Harper is a resurfacing mask, and this is more in like a gel-ish texture. And then the Baby Sakura, it's also similarly in more of like a liquidy, gel-ish consistency, not like creamy.
So just to recap of what chemical exfoliants are, they're AHA, alpha hydroxy acid, or BHA, beta hydroxy acid, which is just
salicylic acid.
Yeah, for acne. But basically what they do is help shed dead skin so it's not clogging the pores, so it helps reveal fresher, more youthful skin, and you're not stuck with like dry, dull, flaky skin. So this one is most intense. We talked about it in the Hyped video.
Yeah. I've read a lot of reviews saying how this damaged their skin barrier after they use it. So if you want to start with exfoliating acids in general or masks in general, definitely don't do this if you've never touched chemical exfoliants before.
This one I know is for anyone. Kaolin clay works for everyone.
Brightening, vitamin C. This one's really cool because it goes on one color and it washes off another color. The Tata Harper Resurfacing Face Mask, this is like a holy grail product. So whenever I feel like my skin is dull or sad or just could need some TLC, this is when I would use the resurfacing mask.
So does this sting?
I think it does slightly. Like a gentle, this is like a, my face burns, and this is like a, ooh, there's a little tingling sensation.
Yeah.
This texture is actually also really interesting. It's
like a jelly.
It's like gum.
So then, yeah, I feel like the chemical exfoliating masks are good once a week, and then for the rest of the week, I'll use like a sheet mask or more
Hydrating masks.
Yeah. Moving on.
So mud and clay, they're very similar and people use them interchangeably, which gets very confusing, but they're actually very, very different things.
And the main difference that sets them apart is mud is actually a skin healing agent, which is because mud is a water-based ingredient, meaning it's actually very hydrating and works well for most skin types, especially those with dry or dehydrated or dull skin. Yeah, like you, so mud is really good for that. Whereas clay is a skin drying ingredient, which we'll talk about right after this.
So I've been using masks all wrong. I need the mud, not clay.
No! With clay masks, let's bring on all the children.
All of them.
So these are all the clay masks that we both have.
Just a little excessive.
Yeah, actually I didn't even realize that we had this many until we're like preparing. It's generally better for people with oilier skin and people with acne prone because the clay itself, no matter what kind, really helps to detoxify, to draw out impurities and dirts. And there's things like chemical reactions and it's electrically charged, which we'll get into later.
She's so excited about the electrically charged. So with clay masks, there's 3 main types of clay we'll see. The first one is green, and then there's white, which is kaolin, and then
bentonite.
So if you look at the green clay, the greener it is, the more valuable it is. So the clay really is green.
And because it's a mixture of different minerals, calcium, aluminum, magnesium, silica, phosphorus, copper, and zinc.
And so each of these elements are responsible for working on the outer epidermis layers of our skin to heal in their own special, unique ways. And it's also the one that's highest in mineral content.
Yeah, so the mask that we have is this BioClarity Clarifying Mask, pore purifying. It's got Floralux Tea Tree Aloe as well, but the top ingredient is water, elite, which is the green clay, and then it's also got a bit of kaolin, which we'll talk about next, which is white clay. So with a lot of these like masks, you'll see a mixture of different clays because green clay is probably a little bit stronger, white clay is more subtle, so even like dry skin people can wear it, and then you have bentonite, which is like mega drying and really good for acne prone and oily. So I actually really love this mask, and I use it when when you start getting congested? You might not know what I mean. You never get congested. I go through like highs and lows, man. So you can tell and smell that it's like clay, and it also smells a lot like tea tree.
Yeah.
It's very cleansing. So when I break out on the cheek or the chin area, I just find that if I use this maybe twice a week, it'll like really help with brightening and also like soothe the inflammation. I've also used this Bliss Pore Patrol Deep Detox 4 Clay Souffle Mask. This one is awesome because it actually has a combination of all 3. Yeah, so it's got white clay, green clay, and bentonite.
What does that mean? It's just like super clay?
So if you were to use green clay by itself, it's probably too much for some skin types, right? But the more they mix
Too much
it,
as in too drying?
it's too drying, yeah. So the more they mix it with like more subtle clays that aren't as like stripping of the oils, then the more people that can use it.
It's very smooth.
Yeah. And the reason why a lot of the clay masks are like pore minimizing is because when you suck the oil out of the pores, it makes it smaller.
So in the Bliss, there's also glycolic acid, which is AHA, which is good for unclogging the pores.
So both of these actually have really good ingredients or very like natural.
Next is white clay, also known as kaolin clay or China clay, because fun fact, it was actually used to make porcelain before.
And because the clay is actually named after the city where it was found. Yeah.
But kaolin is not only native to China, you can also find it in the US, in Brazil, and the main component of kaolin is kaolinite. Kaolin is the most common type and is extremely gentle to use with mild exfoliating properties. Even though white clay will help reduce excess oil, it won't strip the skin of moisture. Because white clay isn't as absorbent as other types of clay, so it's a great option for people with dry and sensitive skin, especially when it's paired with botanical oils and natural ingredients.
Yeah, actually especially good for combo skin because it's like in the middle of both worlds type of thing.
Similar to green clay, the whiter the white clay is, the higher quality it is. But in most of our face masks, they're not going to be in its pure form because most of them have been mixed with other ingredients. But with kaolin clay, based off of the minerals that are found in the specific clay, it could actually be very, very different colors.
Like you'll actually see it called Brazilian clay,
Like
which
this.
is why, this one's pink. pink, but it's still kaolin. So I guess it's like you have the main white clay, but then you have all these like subcategories of clay, and it all depends on the mineral composition.
So this Honeybell mask is a coconut rose DIY detox mask, and it's still in powder form. So you can choose what kind of liquid you want to add to it. For example, you can add water, apple cider vinegar, you can add milk. There's just very simple, straightforward ingredients, and I feel like the coconut milk is very, very hydrating, and it smells so good.
It definitely smells like coconut. With these DIY masks, using apple cider vinegar is really good because apple cider vinegar is already such a like beneficial ingredient for your skin.
Just be sure to not put it too close to your eyes, or when you're using it, maybe just close your eyes altogether. So for these ones, it's 1 teaspoon to powder and half a teaspoon for the liquid that you're gonna put in.
Okay.
And a little goes a long way. So the next one is this Glam Glow Super Mud Clearing Treatment. I love this. I love how you can see every single pore and every single circle.
It's actually very scary because it's like all the oils seep through the mud and then you can see where your pores actually are.
So mines are mostly on my forehead and the T-zone around this area, and then there's nothing on my cheeks, and then a little bit down here.
But this one's actually got so many good ingredients. There's AHA and BHA, which is why it's called the clearing treatment, because it'll zap any life out of anything that's blooming under there.
So one thing with clay mask, you definitely don't want to leave it on for more than the recommended time. In general, once it dries, just wash it off.
But don't like put too much on. I think that's also another thing, otherwise you'll be waiting forever.
I usually put a really, really thick layer on, and I just realized recently that you just need a very thin layer and it'll do the job.
The
Body Shop Tea Tree one, I feel like these two are pretty similar in it that they're both clearing masks. And this has a lot of tea tree, which is actually really great for Felicia. This mask should actually be hers. You can have it.
Thanks! It's a skin clearing clay mask, and once again, it's also kaolin, so it's green. So that's the thing, you can't like confuse green clay
with the color of
green.
So same thing with the Glam Glow Youth Mud, it also has kaolin.
And then the 2 white clay ones I have are this Dr. Jart. It's a trans foam clay. So it actually comes in this pack of 3. I should have mentioned the green one because it comes with green clay. The green one has tea tree, eucalyptus, lemongrass extract to control sebum and to refresh. This should have been put in the first like green clay one. So it's also got the white clay, which also has chamomile, which helps to like soothe like inflamed skin, and it's very gentle. And the cool thing is you put it on, and then when you start washing it off, it turns into this really like lightweight texture. Really good for sensitive skin. If you want to try a mask, I highly recommend these Dr. Jart ones. And then the pink one has hydrating lotus leaf extract as well. Also, another white clay one is the Glossier Mega Greens Galaxy Pack. And why I like this one is because it's like a smoothie. It's also got kale, spinach, so it's very hydrating.
Sounds like my cup of smoothie.
And the cool thing is it's also got these little scrub particles, but it's very gentle on the skin. You basically don't even feel it until you're kind of like washing it off. So it's also like mildly exfoliating. Those are our white clay ones. All right, so the next is bentonite clay, and it's actually in this really popular clay that you see everywhere, but it's really interesting because it's formed over thousands of years from volcanic ash, and it's probably one of the most healing clays I've ever used in my life. Like, this thing has been a life changer. I can't even describe.
So the thing that makes the bentonite clay so interesting that Felicia's all like over is because when the clay molecules become hydrated, the molecular and electrical components of the clay change quickly and produces a sort of electrical charge. So what this basically means is that when you add water to bentonite clay, it starts frothing and foaming.
Like, you know those science experiments you do as a kid?
Like the volcano. You pour vinegar into baking soda
and then like, okay, but it's not that crazy at a very minimal scale, and you hear it like fizzing. And another interesting thing is that when you're using bentonite clay, you shouldn't use metal objects with it. You should stick to ceramics or wood, because the metal will actually take away all the beneficial properties of it. It'll neutralize it.
Gotta make sure you don't take away the electrically charged particles.
So a really popular form is this, the Indian healing clay. This is 100% calcium bentonite clay, and it's not from India. I don't know why they have it on here. It's actually from Death Valley in California.
Which is just on the way to Vegas.
So this is probably one of the strongest masks I have ever used, and if you read the back of it,
Feel your face pulsate. Aztec Secret Indian Healing Clay, world's most powerful facial. Wow.
and it says you'll feel a pulling and tightening sensation. Okay, so what I do is 1-to-1 bentonite clay because it's pure, and apple cider vinegar again, and then you mix it around with like, I use those like Chinese soup spoons. The only time I'll ever use it. And then I'll just like use the spoon and put it on my face. You wait for it to dry. It's like, why do I look so sad? But you feel it like going down like this.
Why do I feel so sad? Why do I look so sad?
You'll feel a redness after you wash it off. But it's because of the blood circulating properties of the mud.
That's what it said on the back of the honey bell. Detox clay increase blood flow when removing toxins, so redness is normal and will dissipate.
A tip when washing off like hard clays is to soak your face first.
Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah,
to get it back to its neutral state.
Yeah, otherwise you're kind of like ripping at your skin. And then what I find with this is if you have more sensitive skin, you can still use it. Then this one, the DIY detox mask, the matcha mint. This is also bentonite clay, also matcha green tea, and peppermint leaf. So this is a mixture of it. This is just 100%.
Yeah. So the matcha will be good for antioxidants, calming.
Calming, yeah. I mean, matcha mask in general is good as well. So we would highly recommend this if you're suffering with acne, blemishes, hormonal acne. Just slather this everywhere that you need it to go away.
Could this be used as spot treatment?
Yeah, for sure.
So to summarize all of the clays, for dry to normal skin, Kaolin clay and Brazilian clay would work great. And for normal and oily skin, the French green clay, bentonite clay, and Brazilian clay would work best for you.
So those were all the different types of masks that you generally see on the shelves of things like Sephora, Ulta, or any like beauty store. So hopefully you get the little subtle differences and what you should reach for when your skin is more dull, which is more nourishing, and then when you're feeling congested, it's more like drawing impurities with clay and mud.
And if you haven't seen our previous step to this 101 guide series, it'll be facial oils, and for facial oils is moisturizers and serums and toners and cleansing. So if you haven't seen those videos yet, we will leave a playlist
below or somewhere. And then the next one is also eye creams, which a lot of you have been asking about, and that one's also really interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you watch our other videos. Bye!